Hi everybody and welcome back to Suburban Homesteader Wyoming / Arizona. Well, what did I make today? A coconut cake with lemon filling in between the layers. Extremely yummy. Let's see how we did it. Here's our ingredients for the cake. We'll need 2 1/4 cups flour. For sugar, we'll need 1 1/2 cups. We'll also need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of oil, 4 egg whites, not the yolks, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We'll also need 3 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 cup of milk. In our bowl we have the flour, the sugar, baking powder, and the salt, and we're just going to mix that. I turned the oven at 350 degrees so that it would get ready. Now I'm going to add the 1/2 cup of oil. We do use an entire cup of milk, but I'm only going to put about 2/3 of that in right now. And the last thing I'm going to put in is a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to mix again. This time I'm going to mix it a little bit with this whisk, but then I'm going to use my mixer. To this thick batter, I'm going to add the 4 egg whites and the rest of the milk, and we're going to beat it again. Then it'll be ready to pour in the pans and to bake it. Always make sure that you're scraping your bowl. Make sure you're scraping along the bottom to make sure everything is getting mixed in. Now this is a thick batter. I'm going to mix it one more time. You never want to over whip your batter. But I just need to incorporate those things I got from the side and that was stuck on the bottom. We're now going to pour it into our greased and floured pans. Now the recipe calls for 2 of these 9-inch pans, but I'm actually going to use 3 of them because I want the lemon filling to be in between 3 different layers. I always like to tap it on the bottom. It lets those air bubbles come up. You can tap it on your counter too. So then I have 3 layers. If you're only doing the 2, it's going to be in the oven for about 30 minutes. But because I'm doing 3 layers instead, I'm going to check it at 20 minutes. I took the 3 layers out at actually 19 minutes. They were completely done. Now I'm going to let those cool while I finish the filling. And I'm just going to stir this constantly until it comes to a boil, and I boil it for 1 minute. It's begun to boil, and it's just really thickening up. And I have to boil it for 1 minute, so I have the timer on. And we're about 35 seconds left right now. But constantly stir. You don't want it to burn at all. I'm going to turn the burner off because there's enough heat in that burner for me to have it last the last 22 seconds now. And to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to stir that in, and as you can see how thick that is. And that's going to help with our lemon filling because we want it to be a thick consistency. Now the butter is almost done, so I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of lemon zest, 2/3 of a cup of lemon. I'm going to mix that in, stirring a little bit slower. I need that butter to finish melting. Now I can stir it a little bit more as it's incorporating. Now it's very light colored. So this is a choice that you make, but the recipe does call for it. And I need 8 drops of yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this can vary with the amount of color you want in there. But I just wanted a light pale yellow, and I do think that that's what we're going to achieve. Oh yeah, nice color. Now this has to cool completely. So as my cakes cool, this will cool. So I'm just going to set it on a pot holder and let this cool completely. When it gets a little bit cooler, you could always put it in the fridge, but I wouldn't put it in the fridge right away. So we have a pot with water in it to boil. Then I have a glass bowl. You could use a stainless steel bowl, or if you had a double boiler, you could use that. Now in here I've put 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 1/8 teaspoon of cream of tartar. To that I need to add an egg white. So you break it, leave the yolk inside, and just move it back and forth. You can buy little tools that will do this for you too. And I save the yolks for other things. And then we want to add 3 tablespoons of water. Now our water is boiling over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on top. Let's move our camera. I'm going to mix that together. Then I'm going to use my beaters. And we're going to mix this until it starts getting stiff peaks. And the egg white is what really helps that in the cream of tartar. And you do have to scrape your bowl often. So when you can get some stiff peaks, you're ready to frost. Let's put the cake together. So our lemon filling is completely thick. It's cooled. So we're going to put half of the mixture here. And remember, we have 3 layers. If you were only going to do 2 of those layers, just 2 layers instead of 3 pans, I would suggest that you make your filling half that. But I have 2 layers, so I need more filling than I would otherwise. And I'm going to take my next layer. Any extra that you have, you might fill with donuts. You might make some homemade donuts. There we go. We'll put our top layer. Then we'll be able to frost it. So we're going to frost the top and the sides. And then I'm going to top it with coconut. It's very much like a meringue frosting. And because of the lemon in there, it wants to move around a little bit, but that's all right. I'm going to stop right here and add the coconut. And you can put as little or as much as you want on there. I like the taste of coconut, and I like the combination of coconut and lemon together. So when I found this recipe, I thought, perfect. So let's do the sides. And it's just a matter of using your knife and spreading. Now, would you have to do the sides? Not necessarily, but I think it makes a prettier cake. Now I'm just pressing coconut on the sides. One thing to remember about this frosting is you want to be careful not to wait too long once it's done, because it'll harden way faster than what you expect. And so as soon as it's done, have your cake all ready to be frosted. And I just finished it. So let's give Joe a piece of cake.